So I wanted to share with you just how remarkable the tarot is. You've got to think about the tarot as a living book, and it can reflect, in my understanding, any single experience known to humankind. So, as you can imagine, I use the tarot a lot myself, and what I'd noticed over the last sort of 6 months is whenever I was doing a reading for myself, the Three of Swords would crop up, and very often it didn't have a meaning. So the rest of the cards would make sense. Maybe I was asking about my business or a holiday or whatever. The rest of the cards really resonated and I could understand them. And then there'd be the Three of Swords. And became aware that basically it was a reflection of something I was feeling, something that was going to happen. Sort of a little gentle prod that what I felt was happening was something would need to be expressed. An emotion would have to be let loose, because I see this as emotional honesty. There we have the heart and the swords, which represent our logical mind, and our words are thrust through the centre of the heart, and it's raining behind, which is for me the tears. So I was aware that somewhere deep inside me I had a sadness, that perhaps it was shadow work and I wasn't aware of, that was going to come to the front. And then slowly but surely the Three of Swords was becoming the central card of every reading for myself. At the same time, my anxiety was rising, and I was beginning to feel a sense of overwhelm. So I did a reading for myself, 3 cards. I think 3 cards is a really powerful spread, and I asked whether I should go and see my shaman healer for help with this Three of Swords. And this spread just made me basically text straight away and say, how soon can you see me? Because this is such a beautiful image of a shaman healing. This represents my shaman healer. He happens to be a man, but that is irrelevant. To me, the Emperor is about safety. It's about holding the space, staying firm, steady as a rock. I'll walk into this first for you. And, you know, as a shaman healer, what either I, or in this case my healer, does is they remain so rock solid that I am able to let go, and I am able to release, and I am able to feel so safe, so secure, that I can confront these deep, dark shadows. So that really resonated for me. And then we have the High Priestess. Now, I'm a Norse shaman, so I work with the Norse gods. So to me, she is Hel. Hel is our goddess of the underworld, and here we have the pomegranates linking to Persephone. And Hel is portrayed as being half light, or half alive and half dead. There's so many reasons why this is Hel. So that really caught my interest first of all as well. But for me, in a shaman healing, particularly as a shaman myself, I am going deep into the underworld. I am going deep into the shadow to understand, to accept, to face, to confront in a gentle way. So yeah, that one definitely resonated. And then the Tower. Well, you know, I often refer to the lightning as the hand of God. It's very typical in shaman healing to have that feeling of falling as you sort of let go of the physical world and enter somewhere else. We can see the Tower as representing the physical body. We can see the material crown as being knocked off, the realization that something in the non-physical world is creating this problem in this case, my life. And the clearing out, I mean, literally with this, I mean, in fact, what happened in my healing was that I had 2 entities that had been with me since very young childhood, and they were cleared out. They were released to continue their journey. And then the curious thing about the Tower is actually afterwards, and this is extremely rare and it's never happened to me before, I just had to just lie on the grass for some time. I felt as if I had been either shaken or fallen from a great height. It's taken me a while to get back as well. It's taken me, you know, I'm not the person that I was before I went for that healing. I think I'm in a better place. I know I'm in a better place, but it did rock me to the core. So that was, a fascinating glance at what would happen in healing. Now, one of the most profound ways to learn tarot, I do think it's important to read books. I do think it's important to study the wisdom of other people. I do think it's important to look carefully and deeply at each card. But when we read for ourselves, we make understandings of what is going to happen to go back and revisit. Because actually what I hadn't taken into account with this reading, I took the tower to be merely a psychological effect, which it absolutely was. In this case, it was a very physical effect as well. So that, that's something new added to my understanding of the tarot. Perhaps most fascinating of all, that was the card at the bottom of the pack. Now, the Ace of Swords. Certainly the second of the entities that removed felt like a shard of light that ran down my spine, and it literally felt like a sword was being pulled out of me. But the healing that I had was the first of a series of 3, and the first one was very much to do with Odin. And I felt that Odin alerted me to these entities, and my healer, if I'm honest, and how this had to be dealt with. And here we have Odin. Now, I always associate the Hanged Man with Odin. Odin hung himself upon Yggdrasil. But I do associate the Ace of Swords as well. I think that Odin is the master of words, and the swords represent our words and our logical mind. And I work with the younger Futhurk, so for Odin I would use the rune sound Os, which is mouth. And here we have the words, the mouth, the primal sound, the source. So, when I saw that at the bottom of the pack, it was a real reminder that the healing that I was going to go to was started several months earlier. So just, whether you take photographs of your readings, whether you keep a diary or a notebook, I took a photograph of this. And then a couple of days after the healing, when I would look back at the photograph, I was like, oh gosh, that was so exactly what I experienced. And I do often do that. I'm not really a note taker, if I'm honest. I'm a photograph taker. I will take a photograph, and then several days later, I will look back and get a pattern, get a feel. Did what I think the cards, were saying would happen, did that really happen? Because this is a living book. No book, no tarot author can ever fully express everything that this deck can. But your life, the life that you're living, the life of those around you, that is the way to really learn the tarot. So I just wanted to share that video. It's also why I've been quite quiet recently. I've had a lot of readjusting to do. I'm getting back on track. I'd love to do some more YouTube videos. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. And if there's something, a card, a spread, a tarot question that you'd like me to cover, do put it in the comments, and I'll get onto that.